Welcome to the Fireside channel. You are watching our series on business owner challenges, but today we focus on a solution. We are talking about virtual assistants and how they solve problems for small businesses. And I am joined by Natalie Rhodes of the Virtual Assistant Business Club. Welcome, Natalie. We've had you on before, but welcome back. It is really nice to chat to you. Thanks for joining me again.
Thanks, Tamara. So yeah, that's great to have. It's great to be here.
And Nat, today we're talking specifically about how you solve challenges for other business owners. And off camera we were chatting, and I'd really like to start with this point, is that so many business owners are overwhelmed by running both their business and then doing what they're actually good at. And from personal experience, I know what that's like. I started a business because I was good at accounting, and I thought, well, being good at accounting would mean I could run an accounting business. And then you very quickly discover that there's two entirely different skill sets here. There's the accounting, and I've got clients who need really good accounting, but there's my business. And it takes a whole lot more and more skills and things I didn't even know to run the business and to get those clients and to keep those clients happy, and to invoice and collect money and all of these things that you not really aware of when you open a business, that have to be done. And so yeah, for me, I think it's quite important to highlight how a virtual assistant can help you with all that back office stuff so that you can focus on what you're good at.
So what you just mentioned now, and as you were talking, a whole lot of things came to mind, and one of my clients actually also came to mind. When we first started with this particular client, the first thing he said to me was, Natalie, please will you sort out all the templates in my organization? Because what had happened was every single department so sales had XYZ, and the financial department had XYZ and whatever. And they'd all, they've got the logo on, but and everything was just a mishmash. It's a very South African sort of slang, that, but and you just said, please take the whole, everything, IT and all of that, and just create a uniform set of templates across the board, and deal with each department until it was correct. So in terms of what you've just said right now, your back office is your admin side, and all of that takes time, and people don't recognize that until they're in their own small business. Now, and one of the downfalls about it being a small business owner is you can't afford overheads like actually physically employing a staff member to come and work in your office. With that comes all sorts of things: taxes, unemployment. What happens if they fall pregnant? Paternity leave, maternity leave, unemployment leave, all sorts of other expenses that you've got to take into account. Then you've got to buy them a computer. Then you've got to buy the software that goes with it, etc., etc., etc. All sorts of insurances that you've got to put into place, and you know the whole drill. When you hire a virtual assistant, you don't have to worry about all of that, because the virtual assistant's got all of that covered. So, i.e., I have a computer, I have my internet. In this instance, I have an inverter because we have problems in South Africa. So when I have people from abroad, when they interview me, they say, we are aware of the problems in South Africa. What is your backup for that? I have an inverter. I am able to run 24/7. As I'm speaking to you right now, we've got a power cut in Jeffreys Bay, but I'm still connected. So I'm able to operate. My business doesn't go down. Things like having IT security. I have recruited a company that ensures that my systems are not hacked, that when I'm working with you, that my systems are secured. So all of those kind of things as a small business owner, you would have to incur if you employed a person. But if you employ a VA, she needs to have those things in place. You don't have to worry about paying my cell phone account. You don't have to worry about paying my medical health. You don't have to worry about paying my insurance for anything, because that's all part of my rate. So what I'm trying to say to you is the benefits and the solutions of having a virtual assistant for a small business owner is huge, because you don't have to outlay all of those things. Initially, when they look at a virtual assistant, they go, they can't afford that. But if you think about actually laying out everything, the tools for the person to do the job, any laptops, printers, software, all of that, and then all the other things that you don't think about, what I mentioned earlier. It's a huge saving to have a virtual assistant, particularly one that's got years of experience. Yeah.
So as
So
part of
that's
the,
definitely
sorry, Natalie, sorry,
oh, don't worry.
you got a lag on this side, and I didn't realize you were still talking. Um, But in terms of savings, we teach outsourcing in the business builder. I teach it as the best way to begin building your team. So maybe not the you're gonna eventually be hiring people if you're building a business and you want to. But when you're this small little business with one person and your funds are limited, outsourcing is the way to go for exactly all the things you just listed. You don't have to buy the
Yeah.
computers, and you don't have to pay the internet bill, and you don't have to pay the phone bills. And you also, I think people don't realize how much admin, again, is involved in managing people. So it's not just the cost. If I hire a secretary, is obviously the cost, and there's all those physical things and all these extra benefits that I have to pay for. But then I also have to manage her time, and I have to make allowances for, sick days and shifts and schedules. And if she's just having a bad day, or maybe she's not as good as she came across in her interview, and now I have to do training, or worse, I have to give her a notice and try find a new one. And, all of these
Exactly.
things that come with employment that are not attached to outsourcing, because
Exactly.
it's much easier to just cancel a contract and find a new supplier, or preferably find someone like yourself in the first place who you're not going to cancel because you're doing a good job. It's fantastic. So yeah, the
And all the
benefits are
legalities.
huge.
Yeah, Tamara, all the legalities that come with that and the outlay that having, full-time staff with you is enormous. So, but just on that conversation that you just had now, led me to the next thing I wanted to say to you was, with a virtual assistant again, so when you're employing somebody, you're paying them a salary and then all the other things that come with the tax and whatever, as I mentioned earlier. But with a virtual assistant, you buy hours. So you'll only buy like 5 or 10 hours. And depending, sometimes you have a retainer, people will buy 30 hours once you get into the swing of things, and you've got a good, you and your client will come to an arrangement and things are really, really working well, then that's down the line. But initially, you only have to buy 5 or 10 hours. So it's not that huge outlay, every single month. And so if you're only going to use 5 hours of that VA, then you can put that into your budget and make it affordable. But if next month you've got a bigger project coming up and you can put it into your budget for 10 hours, then you've got that flexibility. The other great benefit about a virtual assistant is, and what I have in my contract is that, and I use this loosely, is that there can be no suing anybody. So you buy 10 hours from me. If things don't work out that really well, and after 5 hours you want to terminate, I just reimburse you the 5 hours and we part ways merrily, and there's no additional legal fees, legal costs, and whatever. So that's another benefit to having a virtual assistant, and the system that I'm working on, which I highly encourage most virtual assistants to do. It's just the way to go.
Yeah, and it is, like you say, it's not just also the cost benefit. Having to only buy 5 hours means that you can try someone. It's almost like
Correct.
a trial
See,
period, and see, okay, does
yeah,
this work for me? Does this person understand the way I think? Are they going to do things the way I want them
correct.
done in my business? Do they understand my business and who I am and how I represent myself? And you've got 5 hours to work that out at a very low cost, instead of
Mm,
3 months probation for an employee that
correct.
doesn't work out. And yeah,
Correct.
I personally think that virtual assistants are very underrated in the world. I think
Mm.
you make such a big difference to the businesses that are aware of how important you are.
Absolutely, and more so sadly on this continent than abroad, but we are underrated. But yeah, we do add value. So, and there's a load of benefits when people actually sit down and think about it. Exactly the conversation we're just having right now. How many times have people employed somebody, and when that person's arrived and they've come to do the job, they actually can't do the job, and then the hassle and the legalities of trying to say sorry, this is not working, and move on. Whereas 5 hours is a lot less than 3 months. So
Exactly,
and a
yeah.
lot less painful.
So much less painful.
Um,
So, Natalie, anyone watching, if they're going, okay, I'd like, to give this a try, can you give a rather quick list of the things that you can handle for people as a virtual assistant?
Okay, so just off the top of my head, it's anything from email management, calendar management, people arrangements, again, social media management across all platforms, across the board, scheduling, making posts, researching content, doing all of that kind of thing, hashtag researching, etc., etc. Then coordinate events at the moment as well. We do newsletters for people. Back end of websites, updating of websites, etc., just the basics, etc., etc. So that's just off the top of my head. So those are the kind of things that we can cover.
See, that's an
Quite cool.
amazing list already, because I was reading the other day about how business owners, small business owners, spend their time. And the average small business owner works 52 hours a week. At least 40% work 6 days. So it's 50, there's 52 hours over 6 days of the week. 20% works 7 days of the week. That's how overworked a business owner is, because we're trying to do everything. And of those hours that everybody's working, there's an average of 13 to 15 hours a week are admin. So
No,
if
that's
you
true.
outsource your admin,
Yes.
you give yourself 13 hours a week. So you either actually get to have a weekend, or you could put those 13 hours into your clients and make more money. So it's
Yeah,
actually, a no-brainer to
yeah.
use a VA instead of trying to exhaust yourself to the point of overwhelm, doing it all by yourself.
Oh, so it'll free you up with the time of where you're working in your business versus working on your business. And
Exactly.
so that's the benefit of that. So absolute benefits. So, yeah.
Massive benefit. Natalie, if
Massive, yeah.
anyone wants to use your services, we're going to put the links underneath this video, but do you want to just give them maybe the best way to contact you, or the fastest way to contact you?
Sure. The easiest way is to go to the website, which is www.thevirtualassistantbusinessclub.com. There you'll be able to find my email address. You'll be able to then email me. We can arrange a meeting, to have a Zoom meeting, and whatever. I can drop you my calendar link, and or you can find me on social media. LinkedIn, easiest one. Facebook and Instagram. I'm there. You'll be able to find me there as well. So, but yeah.
Awesome. We'll put the links underneath, and I do encourage anyone that is facing the challenge of 52 hours a week to get rid of those 13 hours. Give Natalie a shout and give yourself some life back. Thanks, Natalie, for joining me.
Thanks, Tim.